Welcome back. Let's move on to the next process, monitor and control project work. The first process in the monitoring and controlling process group. And it's the fourth process in the project integration management knowledge area. And the main goal, as you see on the screen, is monitoring and controlling the entire project and creating work performance reports. Have you ever created reports for your project? Well, this is the process where we do that, where we create these work performance reports. Okay, so the main goal, mission, monitor and control work across the entire project. Let's take a look at our inputs here. The first input is the project management plan. Because when you think about it, as you are monitoring and controlling, you need to be monitoring and controlling against a plan. So it's here that we monitor and control against the project management plan. That's why we need it. The next one is project documents, and this refers to any of the relevant project documents for carrying out this process. And honestly, any project document could easily be found as relevant depending on the situation. Okay, so when you see something like project documents, always read between the lines. Which project document is relevant to this question? Okay, now let me read very briefly a few of these project documents that could be referred to here. We could have the assumptions log, which we talked about in developing the charter, basis of estimates, cost forecast, issue log, various reports relating to project quality, risk register, risk reports, if any, and schedule forecast. So there could be different documents depending that are relevant. Remember, we are monitoring and controlling the project work. So as we monitor something, we find it's going out of alignment. What do? We take action to bring those things back in alignment. An example would be your quality report. Well, you see the quality is going off. How are we going to get the quality back in alignment? How are we going to fix these problems on the project? Okay. The next input is work performance information. So we've been talking about work performance data, WPD, and work performance information, WPI. Work performance data comes from direct and managed project work. It goes to monitoring and controlling processes. The work performance data, remember what it is? Do you remember what it is? Raw observations. These raw observations need to be analyzed in the monitoring and controlling processes. After we have analyzed this stuff, it comes back in the form of work performance information, goes into the monitor and control project work process, and then we put all of that information together, and ultimately it will get into a work performance report. Just watch, I'm going to show you that soon. The next input here, agreements. We already know what those are. Enterprise environmental factors is the next input, and OPA's organizational process assets. So earlier on, when we were in the develop project charter process, we talked about agreement. So one agreement that quickly comes to mind is your contract. But we could have other agreements. We could have SLAs, service level agreements. We could have other agreements within the contract that allude to certain aspects of the project being at a particular quality level or a particular benchmark. So we have agreements as an input. Let's take a look at our tools and techniques. Expert judgment, a no-brainer. Expertise is used to keep the project on track, to monitor the project, to take a look at the data or the information that's available that shows how the project is performing. We also have data analysis. Now, when we talk about data analysis, we're talking about any form of analysis of data. So this is a huge catch-all, folks, and I'm just going to tell you a few of these types of analysis that fit into the data analysis bucket. So we have alternatives analysis. Alternatives analysis seeks to analyze alternatives for anything on the project. You could be analyzing alternatives for solving a problem. You could be analyzing alternatives for carrying out work, you see. We also have cost-benefit analysis. What is the cost of a particular solution for the project versus the benefit? And when I say for the project, I mean, to solve a problem on the project. This is monitoring and controlling. So when we take a look at cost-benefit analysis, we're taking a look at a solution, for example, to something versus the cost, the benefit of doing it in a particular way versus the cost. Okay. We also have earned value analysis. You're going to love earned value. Earned value is going to be talked about later on, but earned value is a way of managing cost, controlling cost on the project. So part of data analysis could be earned value analysis. It's analyzing data, cost data, trying to understand what exactly it implies. We also have root cause analysis, looking for the root cause of an issue, of a problem. After you find the root cause, if you attack the root cause, you get rid of all of those effects associated with the root cause. So it's definitely a good way of analyzing. We have trend analysis. It's one thing to have data. It's another thing to intelligently examine the trends. So trend analysis is looking for trends in your data to be able to better predict the future. And we also have another type of analysis called variance analysis. Variance analysis seeks to understand why there are variances on your project. Variances between actual and planned, for example. Variances between your actual cost and what you planned. Variances between the scope, what you got done versus what you planned. Why did you get all this done when this is what you planned? There's a variance, a discrepancy. So we do variance analysis at various points on the project, actual versus planned, and it could be time, cost, scope, anything. Let's take a look at our next tool and technique here, decision making. So decision making is big. You'll find this in the glossary as well. But as you are monitoring and controlling project work as a PM, you need to make a decision. You need to make a decision on a solution to counteract certain problems. You need to make a decision for various steps to be carried out on a project, to bring the project back in alignment. Those are the kind of decisions you would need to make as a PM. We also have as a vehicle to many of these aspects, meetings. So as we are analyzing data, as we're trying to glean information, we have meetings as a vehicle, and that's why that is a tool and technique. The outputs that we get from monitor and control project work, we have quite a few of them. Let's take a look. So let's take a look at the outputs of monitor and control project work. The first one, work performance reports. I talked about this previously. As you're working the project, you're going to get work performance data, raw observations. You're going to analyze those raw observations. That is going to become work performance information when you understand the implication of the data, what it stands for, what it really means, what the impact of that data is. You got work performance information. You see it as an input here. Now, as you get work performance information coming in, you are going to put all of this work performance information, all of the relevance of this work performance data you've analyzed, you're going to put all of this work performance information into a work performance report. The work performance report is going to tell you, from various knowledge areas on the project, what exactly all this data means, and probably predict the future based on the data you've analyzed. Okay, so all that gets put into a work performance report, and it will ultimately get distributed in the project communications management knowledge area. The next output needs no introduction. It's change requests. So as you're carrying out this process, if there are any change requests, they need to be gleaned and passed through the right channel to the perform integrated change control process. The next outputs you know fairly well, project management plan updates. This refers to any updates to the project management plan, and we've got project documents updates. So again, a huge process, a very important process. For your exam, absolutely know what work performance reports are. understand the dynamics about what exactly are we doing. Okay, we've got all this work performance information. We're going to put it into a concise report that makes sense. We're also involved in making decisions. And for that reason, you need to know what corrective action is, preventive action, and defect repair. You need to know what these are, because these are ways that you control your project. Preventive action, you're preventing things from going wrong, even right from the get-go. Things are not going wrong. Corrective action, something's gone wrong, but we don't have a defect yet. We can correct the process and get it back into alignment with the plan. And then we have defect repair, which means too late, you've wasted money, there might be scrap and rework, and you need to repair a defect. Okay, so all of that stuff is important, because in monitoring and controlling project work, this is where you think, what are we going to do about that? And when you've decided what to do about that, that is when you get a change request to effect a change on the project, to bring the work back in alignment with the plan, or to just repair a defect altogether. Okay, so a few more hints for you when we talk about the output project documents updates. We could be referring to various documents, but some of the documents we could be talking about here include cost forecasts, the issue log, lessons learned register, the risk register, and schedule forecasts that may be documented. Okay, and that concludes the monitor and control project work process. Let's go on to our next process.